We got the email in. Yo, yo, yo. We got the email in. Boom, 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 boom. You see the email? Yep, we got it in, y'all. So basically, Yehia Gad hit me up. Sorry for my late response, but I was in bed for a whole last week due to a severe flu. I've been asked the same question before by another colleague. Hence, I am sending you the correspondence thread that will probably answer your inquiry. All right, so this is what Dimitri Tavares sent him back in August 27th, 2025. And so I have no idea who this person is. I thought about emailing them just so I can know who they are and like their interests, and maybe we have common interests and whatnot. So we might have something in common. I don't know, but I don't know who it is. So it's cool that, somebody else was curious about this also, and it wasn't just me. And I'm glad they took the initiative, sent the email the proper way, and got the evidence. So without any further ado, hi, Mr. Gad. How are you? I recently read an article by Eric Keita, Schoolman and Brent in the Oxford Handbook of Archaeology and Language, in which you reported through personal communication with the authors the existence of individuals from the 18th dynasty of Egypt, Amarna, who carry haplogroup E1B1A. Could you please tell me, one, how many individuals from the 18th dynasty carried this haplogroup? Two, do these individuals have any personal identification? Three, is there any prospect of publishing this data? Thank you in advance for your attention. Best regards, Dimitri Tavares, Professor of Brazilian History. Now, as you can see, this is Gad's response. Dear Professor Tavares, thank you for your email. The persons you are referring to are not from the 18th dynasty, nor Amarna era. They are Ramses III and his son, and the information was published in the BMJ in 2012 in our article about the Haram conspiracy, article attached. The haplotype was based on Y-STR analysis and not SNPs. I am unaware of this mistake in the Oxford book. Would you kindly send me a screenshot of this paragraph? Right? Let's go ahead and see what Tavares has to say. So he sends them everything. Here are the highlighted excerpts. The full page is attached. Indeed, the first excerpt refers to the 18th dynasty mummies carrying haplogroup E, not specifically E1B1A. A second excerpt on the same page explicitly mentions 18th dynasty mummies, specifically carrying E1B1A. See below. 3 other Egyptian kings from the 18th dynasty carried the M89 defined R1b that was not further characterized, and other mummies had the E haplogroup. Gad et al. 2021 personal communication. It is interesting to consider if these lineages came directly to the Nile Valley from Asia settlement in Egypt or via the Sahara, as their short tandem repeat STR autosomal background in some analyses indicates broader trans-Saharan connections. See Gordon et al. 2019-2020. The association of Paleolithic Asian lineage with an affiliation that is tropical African is an example of the admixture found in some populations in the Nile Valley. This kind of profile has analogs in various populations and should not be surprising. Other 18 dynasty lineages in the Amarna period were found to be E1B1A, Gad et al. 2020. This interesting mixture of lineages illustrates Egypt's history as being near a crossroads. See Keita in Boys 2005. The skeletal biology of Egypt is well known and reflects its geography. Let's see the response. See, attached it too. It's pretty good. Hi, Professor Tavares. The authors are referring to the chapter in a peer-reviewed published book attached, and probably they were mixed up. I don't know why they say it was personal communication. I had the pleasure of meeting and communicating with Professor Keita before, and probably we exchanged ideas through correspondence. Anyway, these are relatively old material, and we are now employing NGS, and for you newbies, that means next generation sequencing analysis to some of the old investigated subjects. Thus, we will have a better idea about their haplotypes using SNP profiles. His Tavares' response: I'm familiar with the study you attached to your last email and have even read it. Is there any mention of haplogroup E at Amarna in this study that I missed? Or was it simply a confusion on the part of the authors, Erhardt et al. With the 20th dynasty mummies? All right. Gad's response: we did not investigate Amarna human remains, and our only link to this era is through the identified mummies of subjects living during this era. Akhenaten, KV55, Tutankhamun, and probably some if they're family members, some of their family members. I think the authors might be confused with the 20th dynasty mummies, which if you actually watch my video, that's what I was confused about too. And that was like, wait a minute, is he meaning Tutankhamun and Akhenaten? Like, is he confused about the mummies from the 18th to 20th dynasty? Yeah, that's why I did that for in that video. Yes, the response, yes, that must have been it. In this regard, I found the presentation in Erhardt et al.'s article confusing, hence my interest in clarifying the matter. Thank you. And that's all she wrote. But, you know, hey, I'm glad that he was the first one to initiate this. I didn't have to do this exchange with Gad. It was already done previously by Tavares. So big shout out to this professor from Brazil, I guess, Tavares, for taking the initiative and being interested in this topic and finding out the truth. So I didn't have to. I mean, I did. I had to get this email exchange, and you know, Gad is, you know, I told him thank you so much, and I hope you recover speedily from your severe flu. And I mean, he didn't have to do this, you know what I mean? Like, he could have not given me this email exchange, right? This is very kind of him to do this. But that's what's up, you know. It's pretty much what I said, that, you know, Keita was pretty much like, I don't know how you would say it. I can say misspoken to be kind and generous, but to me it's more being dishonest, because if you recall, he tried to connect the R1B from Tutankhamun and Akhenaten with R-V88. He even mistyped. He put it RV-88. So he even mistyped it. But he tried to make the connection with that R1B instead of it being like a R-M269 that's found in the Levant and Northeast Africa in ancient Egypt. He tried to connect it to like being sub-Saharan African, and therefore there's a infra-Saharan African component in Northeast Africa and ancient Egypt in the 18th dynasty. That's what he tried to do, and he specifically tried to do this with the E1B1A. So for those that are Keita writers, hey, listen, I'm not making any of this up. You know, these are the facts, and you got to deal with it. You know, he should have checked everything first, made sure what he was saying was correct. He's old enough to do so. I think he's like 70 years old. He is a grown man. He knows how this works. He has a PhD. It took this professor in Brazilian history, Dimitri Tavares, to send Yehia Gad an email to confirm these findings, right? And it took me to do the same thing. Thankfully, there was somebody already took the initiative and got the response from Gad. So I mean, there's no mistake that he knew that Gad never mentioned that there was 18th dynasty mummies belonging to E1B1A, but yet he put that in the chapter. He put that in the chapter. So in case y'all are unfamiliar, for those just watching this video and didn't watch my previous video, which I'll put in the description, this is the book right here. This is going to be chapter 28. So for those that have not watched my previous video, you have to watch my previous video to know what I'm talking about. If you just came to this video, you're not going to have any idea what I'm talking about. So in this book, chapter 28, Afro-Asian Archaeolinguistics, Keita specifically states that there were 18th dynasty Armana mummies that were E1B1A, and he said that came from communication with Yehia Gad. I called it from the beginning that I didn't believe it was the case, and that that he's gonna have to show and prove that. And it wasn't just communication, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that Keita made up. He made that stuff up. Sure, let's be honest, let's be genuine, let's tell the truth. He made it up. There's no E1B1A connection with no 18th dynasty. Now, if Ramses III and Unknown Man E, Pentawar, if they're E1B1A and the SNP proves this in the next generation sequencing, so be it, right? But as of right now, we already know what the STRs does on updated calculators, which brings me to this article right here. If you have not done so, I posted this in my community last night. It is a great research, regarding Y-STR data. It's titled Deciphering the Genetic Diversity in the Arabian Peninsula and Africa, Insights from Y-STR Data. It was published on November 6, 2025. So this is fresh out the kitchen into your freaking table. Fresh out the kitchen. So make sure you read this article. It's got some great research done by these authors right here. And let me tell you, this article right here, it gives the breakdown of the Middle East, right? Which haplogroups are let me see. Let me scroll down to it real quick. Let's see real quick. And this right here pretty much shows you which populations cluster with each other regarding these Y-STRs too. That's pretty cool. But basically, it shows you the percentages of the haplogroups that are found in the Middle East, right? most common haplogroups. It also does so for Africa. And overall, this paper is legitimate. Like, it's really good. So please take the time. If you're new to Y-STRs, the Y-DNA and whatnot, please take the time to read this research. I found it very interesting. I found it very informative. I found it very useful. So this is not going to be a long video, and this is it. Like this, I wanted to make sure to say, hey, make sure to take the time to read this article. This is a great article. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the research. It's really good, right? I wouldn't sit there and say something like that if I didn't think it was a really good research. I enjoyed that. I really did. So please take the time to read this article. It's very informative, right? Key points are right here. So if what I'm saying you doesn't grasp your attention, the key points: the most common haplogroup among Middle Eastern population was J1A, 29.4%, while in African populations, it was E1B1A, 43.2%. Two, most recent common ancestor analysis and identify Iraq and Yemen as having the most ancient paternal lineages among Middle Eastern populations. Three, Berbers generally form their own distinct genetic cluster, with the notable exception of Berbers in Egypt, who show greater genetic similarity to Egyptian Arabs. Four, Eastern African populations represent the ancestral origin of African populations. They display lower ancestry variability compared to populations in other African regions. Five, Jewish populations generally exhibit genetic structures similar to other Middle Eastern populations, with the significant exception of Ashkenazi Jews. This is supported by both genetic structure analysis and ancestry variability analysis. All right, so like I said, this is great research. It even provides which populations. I think it was up here too. And trying to end this video. Yeah, it provides the communities. So we see African Americans. They also cluster with people from Nigeria, Bahamas, Jamaica, African British. You know, so we see which populations cluster with each other when it comes to the Y-STRs. Down here to the left, we see Israel, Iraq, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Qatar, and Egypt up here, underneath Iran, between Libya and Yemen. So yeah, it's like I said, this is a really great article. I'm not gonna read it for y'all. That's something that I think you should do and take some notes, highlight it, and do all that. I did that. If you want my copy of what I highlighted, please let me know in the comments. You can email me. You can find my email on my About Me. Yeah, I already read the whole thing and took some notes and learned a few things. So, yeah, this is it though. This has been Biblical DNA. I'm out.